Wraith has turned into one of my favorite hero releases in a very long time. He has very interesting math that obviously is very exciting for me, but also his gameplay is very different. In the maths department, you could kind of treat him as a ranged fighter, but in reality, a long-range, heavy-duty sniper is actually what just destroys the enemy team, as I have found out. Huge shout out to T.O. Mikey for his input and discussion with him very briefly for one of his streams, giving me fantastic feedback on Wraith and what works with him. Huge shout out to him because boy does this deck wreck face. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a Paragon Guide. I am Sylphin. We're talking about Wraith, and we have to start off with why do you pick Wraith? To be honest with you, Wraith, he's not a large AoE caster. He doesn't fulfill a strong team composition role. So that means that Wraith himself has to be somebody that simply fills the team comp. The rest of the team has to be strong heroes with crowd control and a very strong foursome. What Wraith does is simply complement that to great effect. He simply enables them to do things, gets picks, gets great long-range damage, just complement an already strong team comp. In this, he shines and can just do ridiculous things. So, ladies and gentlemen, the very first ability that you start off with in the mid lane is his Knock Knock ability. What this does is, it's a long-range snipe shot that deals fantastic damage. It pierces geometry and will refund the mana cost when you last hit. In lane, this works tremendously. With this ability, you can easily snipe last hits in lane, and if you have if you're up against an aggressive Morgesh, you can just back up and snipe your last hits. Fantastic usage of this ability to just kind of stay in lane and just get those last hits. Now, what you do though, is use this ability to poke at the enemy. Once you have a good amount of damage, and especially the Infinity Stream that you're going to see it coming up here, it has tremendous value. Use this to poke your enemies and secure last hits. Tremendous damage ability. You need to use it to great effect. The next ability here is called Back It Up. This is the second ability you get because what happens is you mark an enemy hero and you warp them to where they were about 3 seconds previous, where they were. So as you can see here, I'm moving this Gideon back to secure the kill and secure this gank. This can be used offensively, so when they are running away, you can use it so that they move back to their original position and you can secure the kill, or defensively. Chimera leaps on you, Kalari ults you, you can use it, and boom, they go back to where you don't have to worry about them. Fantastic ability. Make sure to use it at appropriate times, however, because it has quite a long cooldown. Use it to secure a kill or save it to peel an enemy away from an allied hero. You can use it on a Gideon, for example, to get him out of his ultimate. You just have to make sure to use it preemptively a little bit to get it to there. Great ability. Use it appropriately. The next ability here is called Who's There? It's his Q ability. Basically, it's a ward that you can throw out anywhere on the map, and it works by giving vision through geometry. It doesn't care if there's a wall in the way, it will still reveal enemies that are anywhere within the radius. Use this quite often as the mana cost is only 40. So use this often, especially if you have Stinger Boost. This build doesn't have Stinger Boost, but you can use Who's There to proc that Stinger Boost. Use it on your flank whenever you're getting into engagement. Anywhere where you need vision, use Who's There. Don't forget about it. The last ability here that you get is called Surprise Surprise. Wraith sends himself and nearby allies into the Shadow Plane and grants a movement speed boost. Mana cost of 100, but boy, this can just create ganks out of absolute nowhere, secure team fights, secure good team fight initiation, because you can send your entire team, and it actually works quite far out. You'll be surprised by how far it works. The radius is 2,200 units. That's pretty darn far. It's almost as far as the snipe. You can send a lot of your allies into the shadow plane to secure a good team fight engagement, or here, like you're seeing, to retreat. Definitely use it there to retreat under cover of the shadow plane. Great ability, requires coordination. Now, here in the early game, you start off with your mana potion and your healer token. You don't necessarily need a health potion, because if you're getting harassed, you simply back up and use that snipe that you got first to secure those last hits. Then you go into the Empyrean Mask, not your ward, because you can get away with using your Who's There ability, basically your free sonar ward, to great effect. Absolutely, you can get your Empyrean Mask. This will give you a damage or mana regen, or even armor if you need it, to great effect. For great sustain and damage. When you're in an engagement, keep it on damage. When you're not, keep it on mana regen. Then you get your ward and 2 adamant edges for some great damage that can absolutely start wrecking house. Now, here in the mid game, you start transitioning into your role that we'll talk about later. You trade your Empyrean Mask, which most of the time it's going to be on damage or mana regen, but what you trade that for is the Infinity Stream. The more mana you're missing, the more health regen the mana regen you will get. You can use this to snipe the enemies. Now that you've upgraded it consistently, your knock-knock, you're going to be doing great sustained poke damage. Infinity Stream, absolutely amazing for that. Then you can get your Teleblink or your Tainted Magic, whichever one you want. The Tainted Magic just going to help do ridiculous poke damage. The Teleblink forward into a back it up into some knock-knocks. Really, it's all up to you what you can do with Wraith. Now, here in the late game, you finally transitioned into your late game role that we'll talk about later, and you need a few things. You get the Thick Blood when the enemy heroes have, well, especially when the carry has lifesteal, and when the enemy support has Quenching Scales, or it's an enemy phase, etc., etc. Then you get Hydroverser when you are hero level 12 and up. You can get it at hero level 10 or 11, but you just gotta be really careful of how much mana you have. Don't just be ridiculous with your mana usage, for sure. You have to be careful. Then after that, you upgrade your weak Sage's Ward for your 11-point Sage's Ward for some health, and then you get those upgrades on Thick Blood and Tainted Magic. Ridiculous damage potential, and you'll see here that it's just crazy. Some of the optional items here: Chronotonic, Guardian's Ward for your dummy ward, Chronotonic for when your ult is level 1, since it has a crazy long cooldown, and get your health potion healer token if you really need it in the early game. You really don't. You do have a Windcarver Blade if you're super ahead and you just want some more damage, and a cast token for whenever needed. Now, what do you do with Wraith? In the early game, you can kind of brawl it out at range with your enemy mid laner and any kind of skirmishes that happen. Then you transition into a long-range sustained poke damage hero. It's really quite ridiculous, even though his basic attack has really good math for it in dealing some good damage and DPS. In this meta, with just how the teams work and phase being not overly, healthy, you have to play him as a long-range poke hero. So here in this engagement here, to win the game, I try to do what Wraith does best. With your Hydroverser, with your Tainted Magic, with your Thick Blood, with your Infinity Stream, you can just snipe heroes all day, every day, for 500 damage or more. Basically, whenever you snipe somebody, as long as it's not a tank or a heavy-duty bruiser fighter, you're basically taking off a third to a half of their health per snipe. See this? See that Sparrow? I took a quarter of her health right away, and then the rest of that little bit down to 50% or even 2/3 is going to be from the tainted magic. It's ridiculous. You can poke enemies down to death. And essentially that's what Wraith is all about. Constant snipes with your Infinity Stream. You can basically never run out of mana with Infinity Stream, especially when you're higher hero levels. With the tainted magic doing crazy damage from afar. Hydroverser for ridiculous value of damage. It's absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, I've sniped carries out of engagement before they've even started, being up top in this mid lane from that cliff, just sniping them down. They have no idea what's going on. They can't heal from it due to thick blood, and it's just tremendous. Back it up to secure kills, to peel for your allies, with sonar wards to reveal your flanks or give you vision to snipe enemies. It's phenomenal. Wraith has been one of my favorite heroes for a long time. Getting to play him and gotta really understand what he is and get feedback from T.O. Mikey. Again, thank you so much for your very high-skilled professional opinion. In my opinion, it was absolutely phenomenal. So, hope you guys enjoy this deck, this guide. Play him like a long-range artillery cannon, and oh boy, it's just so effective. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this hero deck and guide. Please like this video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, share it with the community, and of course, guys, subscribe. If you guys like this content, especially if you found it useful, please subscribe so I can do it for you in the future. If you would like to support me and what I do on a regular basis, please consider going over to my Patreon account where you can make a monthly pledge to support what I do and reap some pretty good rewards. Till next time, like always, guys, stay optimistic and positive.